5 minutes remaining.
Hello everyone, I am Coolguy, and today we're going over episode 2 of Cool Builds. And with these builds, some of them are for PvE, some for PvP, some combined. You can use it in all aspects of the game. But with these builds, they're going to be going against the grain a little bit. Some exotics that you don't see, some tactics that you don't see. And they are very powerful, and when used correctly, some are just flat out fun. So some you do with friends, some you do solo, just yourself, and they can be put together as a change of pace. Some require a main challenge, but this one today is good in all aspects of the game just to have fun with. Today we're talking about the Predator build on the Blade Dancer. The Blade Dancer has undergone some changes over the years, and the subclass has some things that no other class has. Things like quick draw, fleet-footed, really high base agility, and it also has the ability to turn invisible. Now in early Destiny, the Blade Dancer was the medic. He was the hero back when you used to team wipe for Nightfalls and you'd be returned all the way back to the menu screen. He saved us a lot. The lamps in Crota, he was a hero. He's very stealthy. But the idea of being invisible in PvP has a lot of mixed opinions. It depends on what you find annoying or in some cases overpowered. Things like Jug Shield, Hidden Hand on snipers, shoulder charges, the Wombo combo, all of it, any of it. But for me, the invisibility in PvP, not so much. I don't have an issue with it. You can hear them go invisible. If you don't really rely on your radar, you can see them. And most consider Stalker, the perk node that turns you invisible, a wasted perk. This build is centered around invisibility, and also another thing that's paired with is something that's been in Destiny since the inclusion of a certain exotic, the Khepri Sting. It's the ability to be invisible almost every single engagement you get into, almost every single crouch, and that's just for PvP. But in PvE, you can speedrun certain parts of strikes and raids, so the build does have a dual purpose. Now with the Khepri Sting, you can have 2 cooldowns of invisibility, meaning almost every single time that you crouch, you are invisible. For the build, there are a lot of different ways to run it. It just really depends on what you want to do with it. For the grenade, I use Flux Grenade. It's not essential to the build, but you'll see why we use the Flux in some of the gameplay breakdown. Arc Blade, I go Razor's Edge for the distance kills, but Vanish is also a good possibility. For Blink Strike, I go with Fast Twitch to be able to get my melee a lot, because we're going to be up in players' faces. And when we have the melee, we want to be able to Blink Strike with it. You can use Backstab, but it sometimes messes up the Khepris, so it's whatever you want. You can even use where you go invisible, but I prefer Fast Twitch. Column 6, Fleet-Footed. This is for slide shotgun kills, but also Shadowjack is a possibility for longer lasting invisibility. And Column 8, Stalker, it's necessary for the build. To top it off, again, we are using the Khepri Sting, which is essential, and the Mida Multi-Tool, and here's why we use these. The Khepri Sting is an exotic gauntlet piece that grants invisibility when you crouch on any hunter subclass. So you can go on Gunslinger, do some Khepri Sting throwing knives, and you can go ask my friend Camicakes about that one. You can use it on the Night Stalker, but we are pairing it on a class that already can go invisible, the Blade Dancer. With the melee from behind when you're invisible, the Khepris does 4 times damage, meaning you can shut down a lot of supers, and just in a couple hours of playing with it, I shut down one every other game. But if you melee them in the front while you're invisible, it does add a 4 times tick damage from the poison. Here's the basis of the build and how you can get 2 cooldowns for invisibility for the Blade Dancer, and if you run Khepri Sting and Stalker together, it does not work. It'll only give you 1 cooldown for invisibility. So to do this, it takes a couple extra seconds, and that might bother a couple of you, but it's really not that bad, I promise, and you're not missing much. But you have Stalker equipped, and before you even play, you need to have this on. You just any legendary gauntlet, have that equipped. As you spawn in, immediately press crouch and hit your menu button. Because as soon as you spawn in, he kind of drops down from a ghost, and you can hit the crouch button before he even touches his feet on the ground. You're going to be okay. But as you're in the menus, he's going to go invisible from Stalker by the time that the screen loads. Then you equip Khepris. So the next time you crouch, you will go invisible again. So pretty much every time you crouch, you go invisible now. It's messed up by shooting sometimes, but once you have this set, you're good pretty much every single time you crouch. But if you get into engagement, sometimes the cooldown's lengthened a little bit, but you'll be able to crouch again. And if not, you just move a little bit forward in the crouching position. But also when you die, so in the death screen, switch back to the legendary gauntlets, spawn in, immediately crouch, and do the same thing again. By the time that you're in the menu, able to equip the Khepri Sting, he's already gone invisible, then you go about your day. It seems like a lot of work, but it's really not. But the real reason is, why would you want to run this build? Why is this build good? Because the other part of the build is the Mida multi-tool paired with a shotgun. Of course, you can use anything that you want, but this is the most effective that I've found. And what's special about the Mida is even though that you're walking, you move faster with increased agility. You're almost in a sprinting animation even though that you're walking. So you already have a high agility with the Blade Dancer, so this is kind of ideal being paired. But most importantly, let's remember, when you walk, you are off of the radar. So I use the Mida multi-tool in 2 different ways. Number 1 is getting the first shot, and most of the time when you see players use invisibility on the Blade Dancer, they are sniping, but the problem with that is you can see the sniper glint. But with the Mida, you can get into position, be invisible, and most of the time, a lot of the time, you're going to be getting the first shot on someone, which is key. You're off the radar, invisible, you can get shots in. But the second thing I do is I pair it with a shotgun. And some players are saying that shotguns are dead right now. They're not really, if you're very smart with them. And I've had great success with a shotgun on the Khepri's Predator build, because you can use any shotgun, but I prefer the Quantaplasm for the increased agility battle runner that you get after a kill. And getting gameplay for this build, I got a nice 25-6 game, and that had 15 shotgun kills, 15 Quantaplasm kills, so yes, it can be very effective. And what I do is when I'm in position, I walk towards them with the Mida. I'll be invisible, and I'm going to be off the radar. I'm walking, but really, really fast, almost like I'm sprinting. This keeps me off, but once I'm close, I switch to the shotgun real quick, I start sprinting to pick up some speed, and then we use fleet-footed to get in close to stretch a lot of distance. And also we have blink strike most of the time because we used fast twitch. It's a very, very lethal build. And not to forget, this is why we also use the flux grenade. When we're getting close, you can stick the first target, disregard him and go, or you can use it to throw it when you're noticed. And it's just like in the opening clip, we also have the Khepri Sting, which can shut down supers. And of course, you can make this build any way that you want. The main things for me are Stalker, Khepri's, Mida, and a shotgun. Again, you can go Vanish on your super, you can go Shadow Jack instead of Fleet-footed, or Quick Draw instead. You can even go Felt Winners and focus on the Flux Melee, because I do recommend that when you go into Arc Blade, not using Felt Winners, when you do use the super, you won't really have Hungering Blade, alright? So you can get 1 or 2 kills, you can get in, get out. But again, this build can be used anywhere in the game, PvP, strikes, raids, anywhere that you want. And every single time I use this build, I have great games. I've never gone negative with it. A lot of people might think it's cheesy. I don't. I think it's fun. Catching a lot of people off guard. It's really good going against snipers, No Land Beyond, and Icebreaker, especially because at a distance, when you turn invisible, you're just going to be kind of popping out a little bit without a scope, without a lens scope or glint from the sniper rifle, as most of you guys are used to. You can get the first shot, start flinching him, and go to town. I found it very, very viable. I've used it in trials. I've gone flawless with this build in trials. There's just so much you can do, and the least part of the thing, and the last part of the thing, are the Khepri Sting kills. They're very, very, very satisfying. So, this has been around for a while, but again, nobody really uses it, and with all the changes that have affected Blade Dancer, it's just a different type of way to play Blade Dancer, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So, try this out, let me know how it goes, and until the next one, I am Coolguy.